Hello, I'm Jessica Ryan Keeney. I am an attorney licensed to practice law in the state of California. I practice family law. I've practiced family law since December of 2009 when I was sworn into the bar. I am the Department of Child Support Services attorney for two small Northern California counties. I was a city attorney for just shy of 5 years in a small Northern California city. What I'm going to tell you today is not legal advice. It is for educational purposes only. Go ahead, like the video, subscribe, ding the bell so that you get notifications when we upload new content. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to put them in the comments below. Any answers will not be legal advice, but sometimes they lead to new video ideas, and they often result in good conversations, which are, again, for educational purposes only. Always be sure to consult an attorney about how these things affect your case specifically. Be sure to check out the description as well, because I will have citations to the laws or to the case law that's briefly mentioned in here, and I'll have other useful links. I'll also have a link to the article that I wrote that is a more in-depth version of this discussion that we're going to have today. So what are we going to discuss today? Well, this video discusses which parent gets credit for having primary physical custody of a child when the child is not in the physical custody of either parent. So what does the statute have to say about this? Well, or why is it important? Where is it found in the statute? Family Code Section 4055 B1D is the section of the Family Code that explains how the percentage of parenting time the child or children spends with the parents factors into the guideline support calculation. And unfortunately, the Family Code doesn't give us a whole lot of guidance about who gets credit for parenting time when the kids aren't actually with either parent. And that's when we jump to the case law. But let's read Family Code Section 4055, the relevant parts. So the statewide uniform guideline for determining child support, the child support order is as follows. CS equals K, parenthesis, HN minus parenthesis H% and parenthesis, new parenthesis, TN and parenthesis and parenthesis. How was that for clear? It looks slightly better when you actually look at it written out. And then the components of the actual formula are as follows, and the Family Code explains what each of those letters means. And relevant to us is subsection D. H% equals the approximate percentage of time that the higher earner has or will have primary physical responsibility for the children compared to the other parent. In cases in which parents have different time-sharing arrangements for different children, H% equals the average of the approximate percentages of time the high earner parent spends with each child. And generally, we keep track of the amount of time that the non-custodial parent spends with the children. And even in 50-50 cases, the non-custodial parent is the parent who pays support. Sometimes the non-custodial parent actually has more parenting time than the custodial parent. But for DCSS purposes, they're called the non-custodial parent because they're paying support. And we're working on changing that. You'll sometimes start hearing that person called the person paying support and the person receiving support, which makes a little bit more sense. But you'll still hear custodial and non-custodial parent, and that's what we're talking about. So the amount of time the child or the children spend with each parent seems pretty straightforward. However, it can get a little complicated when we start thinking about the time that the child spends away from the parents, such as when the children are at school and technically not in the physical custody of either parent, or in cases in which a child's away at boarding school or is in a residential treatment program or in the hospital for an extended time. And then this matter becomes a little bit more complicated. But fortunately, there's case law on how to handle all of this. In determining which parent should be given credit for having parenting time with the child, the Katzberg court says the relevant phrase is, well, this is actually Katzberg citing Marriage of Drake. says the relevant phrase is primary physical responsibility. And the court further pointed out that the timeshare percentage is based on the parents' respective periods of primary physical responsibility for the child rather than physical custody. And again, that's in re Marriage of Katzberg and in re Marriage of Drake. So citations to the cases mentioned in this video will be provided in the video description, and there's other useful information in the description, so be sure to check it out. More in-depth discussion of the cases briefly mentioned below can be found on my website. Link will be in the description. And there are other cases discussed on my website which may be useful to you if you find yourself in a situation where you need the court to decide who is going to be given credit for having primary physical responsibility for the child or children when they're not physically with either parent. So a parent may be given credit for having primary physical responsibility or parenting time with the child or children even when the child is not physically with the parent, and the court has specifically ruled that this applies to the following: when the child is in daycare or childcare, that's in re Marriage of Whealon. For an adult disabled child, that's in re Marriage of Drake. There are other cases regarding adult disabled children too that we're not going to go into. And in re Marriage of Drake, the court can order parents to pay child support for an adult disabled child. And then also when the child is away at boarding school, and that's in re Marriage of Katzberg. So in figuring out which parent has physical custody of the children for purposes of calculating guideline child support, the court may consider the following things, which are discussed in re Marriage of Katzberg and De Silva v. De Silva. And so that this makes some sense, Marriage of Katzberg is a case in which the parents agreed to send the child to boarding school on the East Coast, and the parents lived in California. Father had more parenting time than mother before the child went to boarding school, and father paid mother child support. And then when the child was at boarding school, father filed a motion to modify support. He wanted to pay mother less child support. And the court needed to decide which parent was going to get credit for parenting time while the child was away at boarding school and not physically with either parent. And so things that the court looked at in deciding that father was going to get credit for having parenting time while son was at boarding school were as follows. Before the son went to boarding school, father's home was son's primary residence, such that son spent about 38% of his time with mother and the rest with father. Father's home remained son's primary residence when son was at boarding school. Father paid all of son's transportation to and from boarding school and incidental expenses. Son's boarding school was being paid for from an educational trust that father's family set up. And that was the majority of father's personal inheritance. And my take on it was that father was going to get less of an inheritance or possibly no inheritance because this trust was paying for the boarding school. Mother didn't help pay for the boarding school. Mother didn't share the transportation responsibilities to and from boarding school. There was no evidence mother would have to respond if son had medical or another emergency while at boarding school. Father signed the contract for the school. Mother refused to sign the contract. And then De Silva v. De Silva, how much each parent participates in school activities, fundraisers, and other school-related functions may also be considered by the court in deciding which parent is going to be awarded parenting time in the calculation for that time that the child is not actually with either parent. And so I saw this with a residential treatment program situation as well, and the court looked at who was paying for incidental expenses like allowance and just little things that the kid needed, who was paying for the clothes while the child was away in treatment, much of the same things that the court in Katzberg looked at when the child was away at boarding school. So go check out my article on my website because it's way more in depth. This was just a brief recap about things that the court's going to look at when determining who gets credit for having parenting time when the child is not actually with either parent. And this is a companion video to the DCSS visitation verification video that we did. And so go check out that video too. Thank you so much for tuning in. Go ahead, like the video, subscribe, ding the bell so that you get notification when we upload future content. Go ahead, leave us a comment. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave those in the comments. Answers won't be legal advice, but they often make for good video topics and they make for good discussion. And always be sure to double check the law that you're going to use right before you go into court, right before you use it to make sure that it's still good law. That's why I put the citations in the description below. And thank you for tuning in. We'll see you in the next video.